Okay, we're live. And hi, everyone. Another video that I'm making. And I said to myself that in this video, I get very excited teaching Torah, talking about Torah. So I'm trying to speak in monotone, not too excited, not too loud or anxious, just relaxed and a nice tone of voice. So it'll be pleasant and only have good things come out of my mouth and pleasantness and relaxed and not too excited, not too loud or. Okay, so today's Monday, and it's the 18th of March, 2019, 11th of Adar Bet, Yud Aleph Adar Bet, and let's see. So we have Parshat Tzav, Nissan, the month of the Geula, the festival of Pesach, the month of our freedom. Nissan, the miracle. So Nissan has two nuns in it. Nes means miracle, and the two nuns in the first letter and the last letter, two miracles, double nun, double Nes. The miracles and the wonders of the Jews leaving Egypt, out of Egypt, the miraculous conduct of this month, Nissan. The whole month of Nissan is this miracles, and the Shabbos before Pesach is blessed, and before Pesach we have the Shabbos, and it's called Shabbos HaGadol, the big miracle that Hashem smote the Egyptian with their firstborn, and the big miracle occurred on Shabbos. They left Egypt, Shabbos HaGadol, the miracle of Shabbos HaGadol. The miracle of the Exodus began with Yitziat Mitzrayim. And why is this called the big miracle? Why is it considered such a big miracle when there are many miracles that occurred? So why we consider this miracle to be so great when there were so many other miracles that occurred? The 10th of Nissan is the Shabbos celebrated. Shabbos before Pesach. It's not celebrated according to the day of the month, but it's celebrated on the Shabbos before Pesach. So there's a reason for this. And it could be the passing of Miriam, the death of Miriam. And everything in Torah is very precise. Everything in Torah has a reason. And the idea of this miracle and Shabbos, they're connected. The Geula is connected to Shabbos. This year, one day, the first day of Pesach is on Shabbos. The Geula of Mitzrayim through Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah and Hashem chose Moshe as the Redeemer of Israel. And Moses asked, "Why me? Why Hashem? Why are you choosing me?" So even though Hashem did not grant Moses' request to choose someone else, Hashem chose Moshe, and Moshe should become the one who redeems the Jews. Hashem chose Moshe, and who had a deep connection to the Geula. And I'm gonna, for later on in the video, I'm gonna explain this, why Moses is connected to being chosen for the Geula and to be the redeemer of the Jewish people. Hashem and Moses had a deep down connection to the Geula to redeem the Jewish people. Moshe is connected to the Geula, and Moshe is said to be the first redeemer and the last redeemer. So let's see. Moses didn't want to go and be the redeemer because of his stutter. He was heavy of speech. So Moshe, from I'm going to go over that towards the end. We'll talk about that. Like the days of leaving Egypt, Yetziat Mitzrayim, every Geula from the strength of Moshe, Hashem took out of the land of from the Egyptians this revelation of godliness of Yetziat Mitzrayim, and we accepted Torah and the mitzvahs and built the Mishkan, the sanctuary, the Beit HaMikdash, the permanent structure, and the third Beit HaMikdash Hashem made with his hands will be, the third Beit HaMikdash will be something of God's hands. It will be an everlasting temple with a true and complete Geula through the building of the Beit HaMikdash, which will reveal godliness in the world. The whole world and everyone in it will be we'll have this revelation of godliness. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. The revelation of godliness here. Torah and mitzvahs revealed godliness in a permanent way with the Beis Hamikdash. Everyone will feel this godliness in the Geula, the miracles and the wonders of Yetziat Mitzrayim with the Yetziat Mitzrayim with the special miracle. Through this miracle, you have it's higher than nature. When you see the revelation of godliness of Hashem is in charge of nature of this world, and Hashem has the power to go above nature and control nature. Nature go higher than nature, and this is likened to the Teva. Is the meaning of Teva is nature. It's sunk in the Yam Suf. The nature covers over the godliness within it. Hashem is in charge. Hashem. We leave Egypt and we see this godliness in a revealed way. Hashem shows miracles to the Jews, open miracles. We have seen with the redemption. We're free from servitude of this world. We are free from the limitations and the boundaries and the limits. We get out of Mitzrayim, get out of the boundaries and limitations to the Geula, to the freedom, freedom from limits and Purim is the miracles are within nature. When Mashiach comes, he will have miracles of beyond nature, above nature. I will show miracles, says Hashem. Everything will be revealed when Mashiach comes. We will see the truth and the inner aspect of the nature in this world, the miracle of Hashem, the wonders, the strength of the Geula from Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe is connected to the Geula. Okay, and this is the miracle Shabbos. So we can ask some questions about the Sikha. This is a Sikha of the Rebbe from 1991. And so we can ask, what was Moshe's claim and why not to take the Yidden out of Mitzrayim? Or why didn't Moshe want to be the one chosen to be the Redeemer, to take the Jews out of Mitzrayim? What is Moshe's connection to our Geula? Why did Hashem, create all these miracles? Why all these miracles, and what did these miracles accomplish? And define freedom based on this Sikha definition of freedom. And can you expound upon the word Teva? Teva, which is ark, Noah's Teva, and also meaning nature. So Moshe didn't want to go because of his stutter. He had a heaviness of speech. Moshe is from Astilis, which was next to source of the highest level of Chachma. He was heavy of speech. He didn't have the tools to draw down this godliness into the world. He had no liver, no filter to draw down these ideas to permeate Egypt. So let's see. So the conflict in Moshe is from the highest level of Chachma. He was a child who was taken into the palace of Pharaoh and the son of Egypt, of Pharaoh, which was the lowest of morality, the son of Pharaoh, which was supposedly the lowest of morality. He grew up in this palace. He was tormented. He went from the highest level of Chachma, but grew up in the lowest place of morality. So his higher soul said, you don't know how to draw down into the world. He was afraid of Pharaoh. Moshe was the first redeemer, and so his soul almost said he was afraid that he couldn't draw down all this light, all this holiness into the world. So that's why he didn't think he would be able to be the redeemer, and he wanted Hashem to choose someone else. So his own fear of how he grew up and his story of growing up in the palace of Pharaoh. So it says Moshe is the first redeemer, and the first event sprouts all the other events. So it's like a domino effect. He stated that this process, Moshe had to redeem himself before he could redeem the Jews. The Jews from the highest source goes to the lowest place in the soul forgets his capabilities and strengths. And this, each time Moshe went to Pharaoh, he had to deal with himself. So each time he went to Pharaoh with another plague, he had to deal with himself to redeem himself out of the density of his exile. He grew up with Pharaoh as a father. Moshe was not aware of his capabilities and how he was not Moshe wasn't aware of his capabilities and how he was not limited. He had to prove to himself beyond his limits. He had to free himself. With each plague, he freed his soul. Each plague represent how he can go beyond nature and transform his nature and his own nature and all the distractions that are fear, that interfere or cover up who he really is. So each plague convinced Moshe himself more and more that he could do it. So he had to free himself of his own limitations, his own limits. And and define who he really is and convince himself. And freedom is not defined by our limited or by any one of the expressions of your soul. Reflects each part of your soul reflects part, but not the totality of reality. So each part of the soul, we have a certain part, but it doesn't reflect the totality. So sometimes we get confused that this small part is our whole story, this whole thing that made such an impression on us. But really, we go beyond the limited scope of that one thing and look at the whole totality, which has an effect on the totality, but it's not. We have to go beyond that. So we have to define. So to be free, you must face Pharaoh within himself. So Moshe had to face Pharaoh within himself. Pharaoh is within you. It is in the innermost chambers of the subconscious mind. So you have to be willing to make the journey into the subconscious mind. To do that, you have to come back to it 10 times. Each time will be presented a new reality of the soul, which limits you. You must surpass, and you must see that you are not limited by that story. It is your choice to experience it as a plague, as the Egyptians did, or experience it as an observer, as the Jews did, witnessing how we can alter our nature. So we can change our nature. We can overcome our habits and alter ourselves, our nature, and change. So we can change ourselves. But by no means is the journey over until you have experienced your story by each attribute of the soul. Till you come to the 10th, you will enter the chamber of Mashiach, and in the Mashiach in you, you will enter the chamber of the Mashiach in you. And Mashiach will tell you, now you are truly free to go, and God will come to you. Now you write the whole story for yourself. Now you create a new Torah that emerges from you. So Pharaoh told Moses, I will follow you now. So Moses was, by going through this and discovering the Mashiach within yourself, and Mashiach freeing you and telling you that you're free to go with God, God will come to you, and Pharaoh will come to you and follow Moses and follow him. Okay, so Teva is the ark. In the ark, it contained all the animals of creation. Within the Teva was all the variations of the creation in the Teva. And also it's a likeness of, in science, every cell in our body is like a Teva, which contains all the genetic information of who we are, the makeup of all who we are, the nature and the numeric value of Elohim is God, and the plural is Teva. Many reflections of source. It's divine. Limited version is not source. The limited version is not source. Therefore, your cells reflect a part of you, but you are not limited by your nature. You can alter your DNA because in you, your DNA is the totality, the infinite, the residence of your being that you can tap into. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this later. I'll come back to that later. Let me go back to where I was. Let's see. So let's see. I said that. Okay, so we talked about why did Moshe want to be the one to take them out of Mitzrayim, and we talked about the connection of Moshe to the Geula and the miracles, and what did the miracles accomplish, and the definition of freedom, and the word Teva. Okay, and then we learned Gemara, and we talked about Chametz, and it talks about the field where a grave is lost, and one who enters the field is Tameh, and talked about the kever, it's found, and one who was lost is found or not. One who goes into the field is pure, as long as he didn't come into contact with that lost grave. The person enters the field, and the two rabbis have differing opinions on whether it was pure or not, and this related to the searching for chametz before Pesach. The mouse moved the chametz from one corner to another. The chametz you put, is it the same that the chametz that you put there, or is it the one that you found? If it's different, and also chametz can be likened to the deeper meaning behind the chametz can be likened to your ego, which is like bread rises. And bread rises up, and the chametz is risen dough. Goes up, and you raise your ego, but you really need ego deflation and bittul and humility. And the chametz, searching for the chametz and getting rid of the chametz, cleaning your house of the chametz is getting rid of the ego. So that's a deeper meaning that we could talk about. So let's see. Then after that, we're talking about the sheer drinking on Purim, and then but first we had a little thing about you're not supposed to use your cell phone in shul, and a lot of people use their cell phone in shul, and really it's one thing, I guess, if you're using your cell phone as a sitter, to davening out of your cell phone as a sitter, but to be on the phone at shul is a little bit like walking out of a shiur or walking out. So it'd be better to leave the room and use your phone than use the phone in shul. And it's almost like an overuse of the cell phone. You have to know how to control it, or a cell phone addiction. You have to know when the right time is to use it and when not, and how to filter and control yourself. Today with cell phones, which is a problem. So drinking on Purim. Never coerced by nature. The Jew is supposed to be above nature, never coerced by nature to do evil. It may be harder for one person because of his nature, because of his personality. It might be harder for one person rather than the other, but we should be above our nature. It says, like, the differing nature is born, if you're born on a certain day or a certain time or a certain week or a certain month, you're born on a different nature, differing personality. So the heavy influence of Mars, born under Mars, tendency to bloodshed. Maybe I should pause it here. We got 19 minutes. Take a little break, and I'll start a new video, next video, part 2. So I'll pause it here, and I'll if that's enough, if you can't hold your attention for that video, then I'll check the next video, so I don't burden your attention span and carry on too much. But if you're interested in this video and you'd like to hear more about the rest, I'll make another video. Okay, taking a little break. Thanks for listening, and shalom.